Hey, what's up folks, how's it going? This is Waj. Hope you guys are all doing well, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing and overview of the Scuff Vantage 2 controller for the PC and PlayStation 4. We're going to be taking a look at the wired specific model. It is also available in wireless. I believe the wireless price is around $199 versus this thing goes for around $169. Let's take a look at what comes inside the box. Now, we took a look at the original Vantage a few years back, and it was a really awesome controller. You still have pretty much the same design on this thing over here. So we'll flip that open, and as you can see, we have this gray color scheme. Now, there's a whole bunch of custom options that you can get on the Scuf website for different themes and things like that. So we'll take a look at the controller in a little bit, but let's see what else comes inside. Okay, so we have some sealed packets over here. I'm guessing this is the attachment accessories. Okay, so as you can see, we'll take a look at exactly what's in here in a little bit, but so far it looks like we have some thumbsticks with some rubberized finish. You have a circular D-pad replacement, which is good for doing diagonal movements in fighting games, for instance. So you have some anti-friction rings as well as longer trigger covers over here, which you can replace. And you also have a key that will adjust the actual trigger itself. So we'll take a look at that in more detail. Here is a super nice USB, micro USB braided cable. I believe this is about 10 feet long. And then you have the manual quick start guide over here if you need to know how to use this thing, which is not really necessary because it's pretty much plug and play for PC or PlayStation 4. Let's go ahead and remove all this packaging over here. And this is actually a magnetically attaching faceplate, so it's actually super easy to swap out if you want to get different themes and things like that. And you can see that these rings over here for the thumbsticks are also swappable. We have these anti-friction rings as well that you could pop into here if you want to get a different feel for the actual thumbsticks as well. And it's super easy to swap out. Just pop that out and then boom. So we'll take a look at how that feels in a little bit. Now, basically the weight of the controller is about 194 grams to about 283 grams, and that's depending upon if you have these vibration modules installed or not. They have upgraded these modules to be a little bit quieter and a little bit more less violent, so it fatigues you less for prolonged gaming sessions. And pretty easy to swap in and out. Now, the texture on the thumbsticks is super grippy. They're using this awesome rubberized finish material, and you're never going to slip onto this thing, even if you're sweating and greasy fingers and things like that. So definitely some awesome material design. Now, the initial feel of the Vantage 2 feels awesome in the hand. It feels very familiar. If you're used to a traditional DualShock 4 controller, you're going to feel right at home. Obviously, the big difference is the offset thumbstick configuration, which most people these days find actually is superior from an ergonomic perspective. I know people still like that parallel thumbstick configuration, but the offset design is something that people probably prefer more than the parallel design, especially for playing first-person shooters and things like that. Now, the real selling feature on this controller is the customization buttons that we have. We have two what they call sax buttons, S1, S2 side buttons over here, and at the bottom you have 4 paddles that you can configure the shape buttons accordingly for different macro commands and things like that. And as you can see, we have a longer paddle and a shorter paddle, and you can also combine them with the side buttons over here for different macro combinations, or even remapping the face controllers that we have over here. Now, the overall material of the controller feels really nice in the hand, super secure, a grippy texturized finish all over the place, super grippy back over here, and as we mentioned before, everything has kind of this extra layer of grip coating on the surface of the control interface. Besides the D-pad is actually quite slippery and pretty easy to move your finger around. And obviously, as we mentioned before, you can swap that with the circular one. And obviously, if you're doing any kind of diagonal movements and fighting games and things like that, this is where something like this can become handy. Now, the triggers are real cool on the Vantage 2 because you can actually configure them in either the full range or in a hair trigger configuration. Now, as we mentioned before, the triggers are also swappable, so you can choose a longer length that's included in the box and swap it out if that feels more natural to you. The other real cool thing is you get this key that will allow you to adjust the actual tension of the triggers themselves, so you can actually make it super floppy. And if you tighten the key all the way in, you can actually get to the point where you've completely blocked off the trigger from initiating any command. So if you don't want to accidentally hit the trigger for whatever reason, because the game that you're playing doesn't require it, or you don't want to accidentally hit the left trigger or the right trigger, you could do so accordingly, and that's a pretty cool handy feature. Now the hair trigger mode and quick trigger mode is basically adjustable by this bottom key over here, so you can either go all the way up and have more or less full range of motion, or you can turn it the other way around and have a more fast hair trigger like response for that command right there. The bumper buttons are really nice too. They're kind of angled out, so very accessible there. And just the overall feel of the Vantage 2 controller feels super premium. Now, of course, this is the wired version, which is probably optimal for people that want to eliminate any kind of latency issues whatsoever. It's a recessed USB, micro USB port, and it comes with a 10-foot braided cable. At the opposite side, you have a 3.5 millimeter jack for your headset, as well as a toggle switch for initiating and remapping your paddle buttons and sax buttons. And of course, there's some software that you can download from the Scuf website that will allow you to customize this controller even beyond what you can do physically just by using the controller itself. But really on that, guys, that's really it. This is just the initial response and unboxing of the Scuff Vantage 2. I'm really excited to test this thing out on my PlayStation 4 as well as on PC. We're also going to be doing a comparison between this and the Astro C40 controller that came out a few months ago, and determine which one is best in terms of overall ergonomics, performance, and things like that. If you're interested in that video, please give us a thumbs up and make sure you have notifications turned on. That way you get our videos once they become available. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you later. Take care.